Hey, it's Jordan with TYT Politics. We are in East Chicago and we are testing home number 2, we'll call this one. This home is actually directly outside the USS Steel Superfund, USS Lead Superfund site. This home is about 125 years old. You bought it 25 years ago?
No, we bought this about 30 years ago.
And
we had it rented.
And when you bought it, it was about 100 years old?
Yes.
Okay. So this is obviously, like many homes in this area, you have 50 years old, 75 years old, 100 years old. And right across the street from this home is a former
Union Carbide.
Say that again?
Union Carbide Company.
Mm-hmm. So carbon.
Carbon.
Yeah. So it looks, I'll have to confirm it, but it looks like the old carbon plant is closed, but it still looks like there's some activity there. They said that they cleaned it up, but in a lot of areas when they say we've cleaned it up, that kind of means we haven't fully cleaned it up, if you know what I'm saying. So we're going to do the testing here. Scott Smith again is helping us test. He's a water contamination expert, investigator with Water Defense, and you were telling me that this is like a plumber's dream, this particular home.
Yes, from the research I'm doing, especially with the plumbers union, I was just on the phone with the plumbers in the basement. It appears they have galvanized pipes coming in, very old and corroded, but somebody put valves in a long time ago, so we're actually going to be able to get a reading and know what's in the water as it's delivered to this house. Mm-hmm. So we'll be able to open that valve, and this home is 100 years old, and this, from a research perspective, this is going to tell us a lot about the state of the water in East Chicago.
And a reminder to folks, galvanized pipes is kind of like what things were before copper, am I correct?
Yeah, before copper, 50, 60 years ago, and I always defer to my plumber expert friends, but you know, the plumber, like Harold Herons had said, Scott, remember to say on camera that galvanized pipes are basically magnets for lead.
Mm-hmm. And on camera, we got Daniel, who's a lead expert. So galvanized pipes obviously are not the norm. 90% of East Chicago homes are lead, according to the EPA. They just said the estimate is 90% of homes is lead.
Clarification, I got to talk to Miguel DeToro and find out if he's talking about service lines.
Okay.
Now, without scraping the pipes or magnet, from what the plumbers, from pictures, this appears to be galvanized, but we need to double check and verify that these are not lead pipes in the home, but we don't know is the service line that runs from the main into the house. Miguel may have been talking about the service line, which unless we have plumbers to dig around, we're not going to figure that out today.
Got it. Cool. So what are we testing first?
The shower, and I want to make a very important point. Another thing about this particular house, from a research perspective that's very interesting, is the hot water heater was replaced 6 months ago. So that whole notion about flushing and everything. So if we do find something in this shower, and the homeowner did say that there's brown water that comes out of the shower and they haven't used it. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go into the shower, we're going to test it as they encounter the shower in the morning and turn the mix of hot and cold water on. We're gonna test for metals and lead. We're gonna test for volatile chemicals with grab samples, and then we're gonna do a cumulative exposure test and test for bacteria.
And real quick, can you tell me your routine in the morning? Because you mentioned that you have to run the water for a while. When you first turn on your shower, what do you typically see?
I usually see brown water, so I run it for about 5 minutes, the cold water, because that's what we were told by the city. And then it comes out clear, and so then I take my shower.
And you do the same thing with the sink water?
It doesn't come out brown over here, but I do it throughout the whole house.
Okay. But you drink bottled water?
Yes, I do. Drink bottled water.
Got it. Okay.
By the way, I got to defer to plumbers, and I'm happy to get a hold of them and send them in here. But I did see some copper, relatively new copper piping. The copper piping may be feeding your sink, and it appears that the galvanized piping is feeding the shower. But we'll verify that.
Great. Let's take a look at the shower here.
Now there are preservatives in here to make sure that we detect metals if they're in there. So when you see a smoky vapor, that is normal. That's the acid preservative.
Right.
Just want to clarify for the viewers.
Here we go. Okay.
Jordan, if you would just hand me one vial at a time.
We got
Now we're testing for volatiles like chloroform with the conventional grab sample method right now.
So is it hot right now?
Yeah. And again, we're testing out of a shower head, like you're going to be breathing and exposing your skin to, not just a spigot.
Right. So we haven't seen brown yet, but that's not a indication that there's nothing in there.
That's correct. Remember, lead's not brown. Copper and iron are brown. So now Jordan's a certified water tester too.
And these small samples are pretty much just instant.
Grab samples, the volatiles. And again, we talked about the fundamental differences in Flint. We're testing hot water in shower as it comes out in aerosolizes. And none of the government agencies were testing. And now, we got about 20 minutes till 9 o'clock. Like I explained yesterday, instead of putting my arm in the shower for 20 minutes and cutting my skin and sending to the lab to see what I've been exposed to, not only would that be painful, it's not practical. We're going to put this special material in here and expose it just like you're taking a shower.
And this green material there absorbs. What does that absorb?
It absorbs contaminants from certain metals to volatile organic compounds, oil and grease, and a whole host of potential chemicals. And it also will detect the bacteria if it's present.
And you leave that in there for about
20 minutes.
20 minutes.
And again, because water and contamination are never in equilibrium, it's not a steady state. So you see, we're testing for a split second. Even if we get non-detects with the split second testing, that doesn't necessarily mean there's no contamination. But this is mimicking more in how we as humans encounter water. We don't take showers for a split second.
Right.
So that's why we use this 20-minute exposure.
Right. Got it. And,
Go ahead.
Daniel, being the expert that you are, you got me?
One sec, all the lens is fogged up.
Our lens is fogged up from the hot shower.
Hope we didn't breathe that in, we probably did.
Yeah, being the expert that you are, so if lead can't be absorbed by the skin, which the EPA says, talk to us about what happens if you're inhaling lead in the shower, chloroform, any of those things.
Well, my specialty is in lead, so I'll stick with that. When you breathe in lead, really, lead affects you more based on your age. If you're younger, it's exponentially worse for you, and then again, if you get really old, it's also very, very bad for you. Generally, the problem with lead is it causes a whole host of things, but the thing that I care the most about, I think that is the most relevant to people, is it destroys the brain's ability to grow and create neural pathways, which my metaphor is, it's like building a city and then just periodically putting boulders in the middle of intersections. Eventually it's going to really mess up, and that's why you get people that have higher aggression. You have everything that you deal with lead. It's just a horrific, completely preventable disease that is ravaging the entire world and has been an issue with humanity for all of time.
Well said. All right, what's next?
Down to the basements.
To the basement. Thomas Franks is here. Party could get started.
There we go.
Hey. So that's Thomas Franks, environmental activist and agitator here in East Chicago. And he's been helpful in helping us find homes to test. So where are we going? Down.
in the basement.
Down facing.
Oh, this way. All right. Bear with us on the lighting. It's a little dark right now.
There we go.
So this basement is over a century old, just like the rest of the house. Ah, a little gardening here. Thank you. Wowzers. Wowzers.
It's a nice basement.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that.
So the water
We do have permits for,
for what?
because they had us put the crates up.
Say that again?
They had us put crates before we can have water come in.
I see.
So that's why we have crates. So I wouldn't be
And
able.
let me ask you. You are helping the community distribute water, but
Yes.
buying all this water, even though you're getting donations for families that are just buying it themselves, the bills stack up buying all this bottled water.
It's being donated by Valparaiso,
Okay.
and a lot of water is coming through Blue Valpo
Mhm.
and Chesterton and the schools, and so everybody's organizing for East Chicago. So, you know, we're very grateful for that.
Mm-hmm.
And we're really giving this water only to the Superfund site at this time, and also the Negotiation building,
Mm-hmm.
because there has been lead over there.
And you know, since the reason I wanted to do your home in particular is because I want to check outside the Superfund site as well. Because if we find things outside the Superfund site, then they got some explaining to do. Now, is your community, as most of the homes in this community, kind of similar?
Yes,
50,
all these homes.
75, 100 years old?
All the way down, yes.
Got
On
it.
this block, yes.
Got it. Okay. So, here we go.
Okay, this is going to be very critical with this home. We're going to start over here.
Hold on. Don't start anything until the camera's with you.
Don't worry, yeah, we're not going to test here. So you've got the service line from the main running up here. It appears this is galvanized, and this is the meter, and this runs, so this is coming in from the street, and it runs through here, and it goes to a valve, which we can open directly and know the state of the water as it enters the home. So you might want to get this on camera. So if you follow this, water's entering from the street, and if you follow that, it's galvanized. You follow that all the way down. And they've got probably had an old washer dryer here, and then when you follow that in, you can see here where the line comes in, and this is the water as it enters the house. This valve right here. And this is why, from a research perspective, this is very, very interesting to get a read on these. Obviously, this is 100 years old, and it doesn't look like these pipes have ever been replaced or addressed.
Right.
So we're gonna really,
And you can see the corrosion and...
yes.
And this is the new water heater right here, correct?
No, that's an old water heater
Okay.
that's not in use.
Okay.
And that's good clarification, Jordan, because we're not testing this water heater.
Got it.
This is connected exactly to the feed, the water feed coming in from the street.
So this is essentially first entrance of the water to the home.
Yes.
And again, that smoke is the preservatives that come with the bottle. It's not anything from the water.
That's correct. Okay. I'm gonna finish.
That's colorful.
What color does that look like, Daniel?
It's a little rust looking on the little drip that came. There's a little bit of rust that came off the side of the bottle. Camera's right on it right now. So, but it's interesting that it's water's not coming out efficiently.
These pipes could be very clogged up too.
Yeah.
And since this has not been in use, let's take, I'm just trying to hold it up. So this has not been in use and it's not hot. So this should be a reservoir of what's been flowing in this house.
So is that just leftover water that was in there?
Yeah. And it has not been heated because this has been off for a long time. So
Look at gas shot of the water.
we have as close as we're going to get to a true and accurate reading as the state of the water is entering this home and what's going on with the pipes.
We've hit the mother lode, Wanda. This is the home. This is the perfect home to test. But don't be scared. And Scott, not that you're, an expert on every community, but these kinds of homes, it's not unusual to see this in industrialized areas.
There are home, and in fact, again, with my work with the plumbers union, I have access to 350,000 people all over the country. This is Flint. This is any old, Toledo, Cincinnati, any New York, certain areas of New York. It's everywhere. It just hasn't been documented. It's not just Flint. It's not just East Chicago.
So it's possible that homes that could be 50, 75, 100 years old have never had their pipes changed.
Very possible.
Got it. Okay. So we got the shower, we got the where it enters the home. What else are we doing?
Now we're going to go to the water heater that was installed and is brand new from 6 months ago. Let's see if I can get around here. Watch out, watch your footing.
So this is the quintessential test case. If anything is found in this water heater, the EPA, all these folks cannot say, well, the homeowner's supposed to change the water heater. This is only 6 months old, this water heater. That water looks pretty clear. Doesn't mean there's nothing in it, but it looks fairly clear.
Hey, some of the most cancer-causing toxic chemicals are clear, colorless, and odorless. And that goes for metals too.
Right. Which I think a lot of people don't recognize. If you look at your water out of the sink or shower and it's clear, most common sense people would think, okay, no problem. But with lead and other contaminants, it's not that simple.
That is exactly correct.
Okay. And Scott, not to get too much in the weeds, but just so the audience knows, after you do this, to make sure that the samples stay good, what do you have to do? Do you have to put it on ice?
Yeah, we package it up and put it in a cooler and put it on ice, and then we ship it off to the lab.
Okay. Okay, so the shower's been running now for what, 15, 20 minutes?
20 minutes.
Okay. So we've let the shower run for 20 minutes. Obviously, most people take a shower from 5 to 10 to 15 to 20 minutes. So now we're going to test that.
you have it. We have the tests for bacteria and other volatile chemicals like chloroform.
And I want to ask you about the bacteria, because we haven't talked that much about it. Why is it, obviously you can't get in their head, but has the EPA or any of these agencies ever said why they don't really test for bacteria on a wide spectrum?
Well, it's not always a direct answer. Sometimes it's budget. They claim it's the budget, and then if we find something, then we have a problem. We have to disclose it, and we have to do something.
Wait, you mean that government officials don't give you straight answers?
Yeah, because you can't, in so many words, you can't find what you don't look for. So if they're not looking for it, then the problem doesn't exist.
Right. And to remind audiences, in a lot of these cases, Flint in particular, when they're trying to recoat the pipes to diminish the presence of lead, they're using orthophosphates, phosphorus, you said?
They use a compound called orthophosphate. We call it phosphorus-related compounds.
Right.
But orthophosphate, phosphoric acid, a variety of different compounds can be used.
And that becomes food for bacteria.
Correct.
So you're basically, robbing Peter to pay Paul.
And the other thing, not only are galvanized pipes magnets for lead, but they're magnets for all kinds of particulate matter. And the main foods for bacteria are iron and phosphorus-related compounds. So as iron builds up too, that can be an issue with corrosion.
And I don't want to get out of your expertise, but we should say, for some of these things, it's not sound the alarm if there's any levels of things in your blood. It's the amount, correct?
That's correct.
Right.
But things like lead, there is really no safe level.
Right. But whether it's iron or things like that, that can be found in your blood, where it's not sounding the alarm. It's the number that's in your blood.
Exactly, and I'd refer to medical experts, of which I'm not, and lead and copper and other, copper and iron and other compounds, depending on each individual human, can be issues at certain levels. That's my understanding.
But also, I'm not a medical expert, but I am an expert on what medical experts have told me. Every human being is different. So when you go to the doctor, they'll tell you, well, one person could have 15 parts per billion in their blood and be fine, and one person could have 6 parts per billion in their blood, which is under the allowable limit of lead, and have problems. So everybody's different. Everybody's immune system is different. Some people, for example, I had mono when I was 17. I didn't recover well enough because it led to all these other immuno things. So the bottom line is, when they say the allowable limit of lead or anything else, you could have under the allowable limit of lead and still have a health problem. Does that sound about right?
Correct.
Yes.
Well said.
Yes, Dr. Sheridan.